So DC's gentrification has been very rapid. In 1995, 3 years before I moved here, the city was put into federal receivership, which meant that Congress took over the mayor's office budget responsibilities, and it was basically a broke city. If you drove around parts of DC today, you wouldn't recognize them. So there were entire blocks that were empty or vacant housing. The population had been declining for decades. And fast forward 20 years and you have a very booming city. You have really high rents. Millennials can't afford to get one-bedroom apartments. Sometimes they can't afford to get studios. Families, people like me with young kids often leave the city because they can't afford houses in neighborhoods they like. So it's been a really, really rapid transformation. So TOPA is the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act. And what TOPA says is that if you are a renter in an apartment building and your landlord sells your apartment building or contracts a sale to sell the building, the tenants have what's called the first right of refusal, which means that they can refuse the sale and they can purchase the building instead for the same price. So it was designed to help people stay put during periods of gentrification. So I got interested in this topic because I went through a TOPA process myself. In 2001, my landlord owned 6 buildings on Wisconsin Avenue, and he put them up for sale, and the National Cathedral wanted to purchase these buildings. And we heard that they wanted to put a visitor center up where our buildings were, so we were all sort of in a panic. And a number of the tenants in my building sort of knew the city and they knew about TOPA. I'd never heard of it. And so they formed a tenants association, and then they started calling meetings in the alleyway behind our buildings. And the next thing I know, we were buying the buildings, talking to construction managers, and then we converted to condominium. Well, we're not as bad as New York in terms of rents. I think the average rent in Manhattan now is over $3,000. The average rent in DC is about, I think, $2,200. So it could be worse, but we're headed in that direction. So what I want the city to do is improve TOPA, to make it actually work for all low-income people that want to stay put. We aren't building a lot of new affordable housing. So if low-income and middle to low-income people are going to stay in the city, TOPA is going to be one of the big ways they can do that, but it's got to work for them.